We definitely want to get questions answered and make sure you have a good understanding of what's included in the plan. The
For
second
2 weeks in May, officials with the San Diego Association of Governments presented their new transportation plan to the public. They used a slideshow to explain the $200 billion spending plan that doles out money for highways, public transit, and other transportation projects. One slide looked especially promising. It showed a steadily decreasing line representing San Diego's carbon dioxide emissions. The line showed San Diego would cut even more emissions than state law requires. Here's SANDAG project manager Phil Traum at a May 27th presentation.
I've done this enough time, I should memorize it, but it's 24% by 2035 and then 30% all the way to 2050. So gives you an idea of what we track in terms of greenhouse gas reductions on a per capita basis from cars and light-duty vehicles.
The key words there are cars and light-duty vehicles. SANDAG's graphic doesn't show all greenhouse gas emissions, just carbon dioxide produced by cars and small trucks. The full picture isn't nearly as pretty. Another chart created by SANDAG of greenhouse gas emissions from everything, cars and trucks, electricity, landfills, and so on, shows pretty much a straight line. It only dips slightly, then actually goes up after 2035. That graphic shows San Diego wouldn't even be close to meeting the state's goals. SANDAG didn't include that chart in its public presentations or in its glossy plan released in April. You can only find it in a dense environmental impact report on the agency's website.
Instead of making it known to the public that this transportation plan is not going to protect our quality of life or our public health in the long term, they're instead kind of glossing over that and pretending they're not responsible for it.
Nicole Capretz heads the environmental group Climate Action Campaign. She says it's inexcusable that SANDAG hasn't given the public the full picture.
I find that unacceptable that they're not even letting you know that they're not complying with the state greenhouse gas reduction targets.
But SANDAG's Mugg Stoll disagrees. He heads the agency's land use and transportation planning and says SANDAG only included car and truck emissions in its plan because that's all it's responsible for.
The state of California gives us targets based on what we have, the ability to control or influence. And so we contribute towards achieving that goal, certainly. But it's going to take a lot from a lot of different sectors of the economy to be able to achieve the ultimate executive order goals.
Stoll says SANDAG is not required to make the larger greenhouse gas emission cuts required by California law. It's an argument SANDAG has made before. Its last transportation plan also did not meet the state target, and environmental groups sued. A San Diego County Superior Court judge and an appeals court agreed with the environmentalists. SANDAG appealed to California's Supreme Court, which will decide the case sometime this year. City Councilman Todd Gloria sits on SANDAG's board and supports its transportation plan. He says SANDAG has to balance interests of all the areas it represents.
Often when I speak with advocates on this subject, I feel as though they expect the whole of our climate change initiative to be borne by SANDAG, and that's not a reasonable expectation.
Capretz used to work for Gloria and disagrees with her former boss. She also points out that SANDAG shouldn't wait until it's forced by the courts to change its plans.
That's not leadership, and that means that we, the community, have to speak up and tell our elected officials that they're not doing enough. We're not on track to protect our future, and we need to do things differently.
SANDAG is accepting public comment on its plan until Wednesday. Its board will vote on the plan this fall. Claire Tregesser, KPBS News.